What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate you guys watching the videos over and over and over. The numbers are going up, and I thank you all for that because I have no one else to thank but you, okay? I appreciate you guys commenting, watching, subscribing, everything. Today, we're going to talk about C5 Corvettes, and is it better to pay cash for one, or is it better to finance one? We are going to go into detail. That's what the board is for. We're going to go over interest rates. How does an interest rate affect your month-to-month payment? Okay. Does it have any effect on your month-to-month payment? The reason why I'm making this video is this. I'm on a few Facebook groups and this car is becoming very popular, right? I've been noticing that younger people are starting to buy the C5 Corvette. You know, people grow up and they want a Corvette, and the C5, don't get me wrong here. I like the C4s. I like the C3s. I like the C2s, C1. They're all cool. But the C5, it's something special about the C5. The C5 is probably one of the most fun and obtainable Corvettes there are out there. A lot of younger people are starting to look at the Corvettes and they're looking at C5. They may or may not have the cash to buy one outright. They are probably looking at taking out a loan and financing the vehicle as opposed to just paying cash. Now, if you're paying cash, cool. And if you're financing, cool. It doesn't matter either way. But I want you guys to be aware of your options and what you're doing when you're financing a vehicle. We're just going to go over the pros and cons of both. I want you guys to watch this video in its entirety in order to understand what your options are when it comes to buying a C5 Corvette. Before we jump into it, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, and let's jump right into it. Let's talk about first paying cash for it. Now, not everyone is able to pay cash for a car that is, 5 digits. Okay, I'm talking $10,000 and up. You pay cash. You have a car. You don't have a car payment. However, nor do you have a hit on your credit for running your credit. However, you did just drop a lump sum of cash that you probably could have put into other investments that will grow. Corvettes, the Z06s, you see them at dealerships for $20,000 probably on average now. I've seen some for 24. I've known a buddy that bought one for 28 Z06. It may have been an 04. And I've seen these in dealerships for $35,000 in my local dealership. Now let's go into financing. I wanted to say this one for last because there's so much that goes into financing. Now, most banks and credit unions are not going to give out a loan for an older vehicle. I called when I took out the loan on this car right before. I called and I said, hey, how far back do you guys go? They told me 10 years. Here's why banks and credit unions don't give out loans on older vehicles. Number one is going to be because older vehicles typically have problems. When they break down, most people are going to have to make a choice. Do I get my car fixed or do I make my car payment? Okay. Now, most people are going to get that car fixed so they can continue to utilize it, and then they'll push off that car payment, right? As long as it's not getting repoed. Some people don't care about credit. And I'm not going to say they don't mind, but sometimes you don't have that option. If you are tight on money, you have to get to work. If you have to get to work, you have to have a running car or public transportation. Which one would you choose? When they do give out loans on older vehicles, typically the interest rate is extremely high. We're going to go ahead and base this information on the fact that, let's say these cars are going for $20,000. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and do different interest rates so you guys can understand, what you're paying on this vehicle to finance it. Okay. On top of what you're paying for the car, how much are you paying these banks and these credit unions? Okay. So let's go ahead and do a 6.5%. We'll do a 10%, and then we'll do a 15%. So in each example, what we're going to do is we're going to assume that each car is $20,000, okay? Now, I am going to use my calculator because math isn't my thing. Not going to lie to you guys, okay? Now, what you guys need to know is that interest rate is calculated on an annual basis, okay? All interest rates are calculated on an annual basis. What we're going to do is take 20,000 times 6.5%, okay? So this is going to equal $1,300 here. Okay. For 10%, it is going to be $2,000. And then for 15%, it is going to be $3,000. This is a rolling average, okay? So So when your car gets to $15,000, you're not going to still be paying $1,300 a year. It's going to go down. You're going to pay 6.5% on that $15,000. When you get to $5,000, you're going to pay 6.5% on that $5,000 unless you refinance at some point. We're going to go ahead and break this down, divided by 12. So we're going to divide all of these by 12 to represent how much we are going to pay on a monthly basis. You got $1,300 is what the interest rate would accumulate to on an annual basis. So divided by 12 to represent the 12 months, and you get $108 a month is what you would be paying in interest. Now, again, this number is going to drop as you pay more on the car. Now, going over to the 10%. Okay, so you got $20,000, so you're paying $2,000 a month, and when you break that down, that's going to be 166.6. Whew, not a good number at all. Okay, so ask for 10.5% or 9.5. That way you don't pay 666, even though there's a decimal in between. All right, so now you're paying $166 a month when it comes to interest. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the 15%. So you're paying $3,000 a year and divide that by 12. Some people are going to be like, this dude's dumb because he doesn't know off the top of his head. And you are correct, sir and ma'am. Okay. So do you guys see the difference of what you are paying in interest? So now you went from $108 of interest per month to $250 of interest per month. Okay, so let's say you got a $400 car payment. That means that at a 6.5 interest rate on a $20,000 loan, you're paying about $108 a month in interest. Okay, now that means that you're paying close to $300 towards your car. Okay, so now your car loan is going to go down as opposed to spending that money on interest. Okay, now let's go to the 10% interest rate, right? Now you went from paying almost $300 a month towards your car payment to paying almost $250 a month on your car payment. Okay, so that may not be a big deal to some, but that $50 can go a long way over however many years you take out this loan, right? Especially if it's a long loan. If you're doing this for 5 years, 6 years, again, that adds up over time. Okay, now you come to your 15% interest rate. Okay, now you're paying $150 in principal as opposed to $250 and as opposed to $300. Okay, so you guys see how important your credit is and how important the interest rate is. Now that we went over the interest rate, let's talk about the pros and the cons of financing. Okay, so a pro is this: if you need to work on your credit, this gives you a great option to work on your credit. When you're making those on-time payments, it's going to show. Your credit's going to go up. Now, the reason why I'm going to rebuke that small thing, building your credit with a car, is not the best thing, because you're paying money out. Just a quick snippet: with a credit card, you spend it, you pay it off. You're not paying anybody any extra money back if you pay it off right away. You can end up paying a lot of money in interest as opposed to your car payment. And this is going to extend out how long it takes you to pay out your car. So although you are able to build your credit with a car loan, it's better to do a credit card. So another pro, in addition to, building up your credit, is that you're able to use that money that you may have and put it towards an investment. So let's say that you have $20,000 that you want to buy a car with, and you put that money into an investment. And if that investment has a good ROI, which is return on investment, then you could potentially be making your car payment with your investment, right? So $20,000, let's say that you are somehow making 2% a month. That's $400. And let's say your car payment is $400, right? So now your investment is paying that car for you, but yet it's still continuing to grow. Okay. Now, the con of a loan or financing is that now you have something on your credit. Okay. And you have to be mindful of how many times you're running your credit in a 2-year basis. According to Credit Karma, you don't want to run your credit no more than 2 times in a 2-year basis. And of course, another con, have a monthly payment. You are paying money to these banks in order to have this car. Like I said, if you have a high interest rate and you have a $400 car payment, you're paying $250 in interest and $150 towards the car. So then you got to think about, how long is it going to take me to pay off a $20,000 car if I'm only paying $150? Okay. Now, again, this is on a rolling basis. It'll go up as the year progresses and as time progresses. But again, it's just something to keep in mind. Okay. Those that have really good credit may think that even the 6.5% interest rate is really high for a car that's 18 years old. So again, I think it's decent, But again, the better the credit, the lower the interest rate. That's why your credit is so important, especially for car people. If you are a type of person who you love to have cars, you like to have new cars, but you're not rich enough to go pay cash every time you get a new car, your credit is going to be important. If you are buying new cars, leasing, or you're just financing a vehicle, again, credit is very, very important. I appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope you found this information to be valuable. If it was, let me know in the comments below. And just in general, let me know what you guys think about the video. This can be used towards anything. Anything you can take out a loan for, a house, a car, motorcycle, student loans. This is how you can break down interest rates to understand them. But we just made this specific to the C5 Corvette. And that way, those who are getting into the market of buying one know what they're getting into. I hope that you can take this information and share it. And I hope you can take this information and use it for yourself. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and I'll catch you next time.